Welcome, everybody, to the Final Assault VRML Season 2 third place match. My name is Nightfire with 2 E's, and I'm going to be bringing you some Final Assault esports action this fine afternoon. This is going to be Quokka versus Sporks in a battle for third place. You may have seen them both lose in their semifinals matchups yesterday. But that doesn't mean that they're done. They still got to battle it out for that third place because there is money on the line. Whoever comes out on top here will be coming out ahead with a little bit extra cash flow. Just double check on the dispersion of the resources here. It is first place getting $1 grand, second place with 500, third place 300, and second place and fourth place 200. So there's $100 on the line for this matchup right now. Probably the most expensive Final Assault series they will play. Well, I suppose next to the matchup coming up shortly after this, that will be Bstrick versus Nauko. But what we have coming up ahead of us is Kleinstadt for map number 1 in a best of 3 series. And it looks like it's going to be a Gallon versus Gallon matchup to start things off here today. So without further ado, I'm going to give players a heads up that we'll be hopping into this first round. Heads up, and we'll be diving right on into the action here. Not sure exactly what to expect today, but I do anticipate a pretty good back and forth, at least for this first series. A Gallon v Gallon. Both of these players coming in looking pretty dang good in their matches up against. Well, I suppose Sporks really had a tough time with Bstrick. Aside from that, it was a bunch of very close matchups in the semifinals yesterday. A little handshake at the start of things. Get everybody prepared, and on your left we have Quokka. On your right, Sporks. Their own fun week on their name. One thing to note with Kleinstadt in particular is that when you do push, you really want to secure this second level. It looks like we're not going to have game audio for the start of this first series. But you really want to secure this central area, and you can see already some artillery moving in. This artillery is going to be taking some early shots on that turret. Oh, actually it targets the lane instead, interestingly enough. I figured that would be instantly on that first and foremost turret up on the hill. Sees the counter artillery defense get set up and backs off with that early push he was maybe intending to put forth. At the very least, he's getting lane advantage here. Strafing runs to give that early lane advantage into the hands of Quokka. Or sending a fighter to try and counteract that, getting a little too aggressive. Neither one showing what division they are yet either, so neither one knows that they are in a Gallon versus Gallon matchup right now. We do have these 2 troop trucks on the south, which are giving this lane a huge advantage alongside this tank. It's going to start pushing up. See the tank redirect coming in here to defend and instantly backing off his force backing off his tank of his own. Artillery is nicely positioned up there on the north. Eventually defend both lanes at their choke point. We are about to get into tank destroyer range here pretty soon. Cash drop.
Dropping cargo crate now.
Battle up north. Pulling it back. Where is that crate? On into the center. Does have a Jeep there alongside a tank that needs to get up and reinforce. Jeep pushes forward and snags it first for Spore, so that's a nice cash grab to get him with an early cash influx, and that may lead to our first tank destroyer. Actually, it already has. One comes out. Full cash soon. Not quite aware of that. Oh, still hasn't put out a unit. Just sitting on full cash. This is the worst case scenario. Finally buys one. Did he buy? Oh, some airplanes, some aerial units to help defend. 2 tank destroyers coming in for Quokka now. The pressure is on. A trade of 1 tank destroyer for nearly the full health of another. Doesn't have that hill advantage either, which could lead to his demise. Unless he micros this little ledge properly, which is pretty tough to do. Nice push forward there for the tank destroyer, grabbing himself that kill back, and overall, that's a more advantageous trade for Quokka. He did get 2 tanks out of that for 1. Try and harass here. If he pushes too far forward, Forks can bait him into getting in range of that tower and taking some tower damage, but I think, frankly, he just might go for the kill on that tower. He's got 2 TDs, a tank in the front to soak the damage. Artillery in the back's not going to do a whole lot, and these tanks are just getting... They're just taking tower damage for no reason. They even realize this tower is still up? Almost like Quokka forgot about this tower in the middle here. Artillery barrage coming in and landing successfully. Finally, these tank destroyers target the turret that's been eating away at them slowly but surely. This one with only 1 HP left. Yeah, just needed a little shot from the tower to take it down. Here comes another tank destroyer coming up over the hill to look for another frag. Probably won't find it, though. Has to drop back down and keep that very low HP tank destroyer alive, but it can be effective.
There! You've mastered the art of losing towers.
Good artillery there.
I hope you're proud of yourself.
Gallon very upset they've lost the tower on Notspork's side. Artillery catching a tank destroyer out too. That's an MVP. Not going to allow that lane to push. In the meantime, we do have a south incursion going on. And he's actually sent a tank destroyer around the south, which might be a pretty solid idea. I wonder if it's going to go noticed by Quokka until it's too late. He'll be able to push up on this lane and at least get a couple of shots onto these turrets. Second tank destroyer? Yes, he is. This is a good route to take, honestly. You could easily sit here and pepper away at that turret. He does see another tank destroyer coming in lane, so decides to back off that formation. If you are just tuning in, this is Final Assault. General idea of the game is that each side spawns in units. Depending on what sort of division they picked, they will get different units. In this case, both teams have picked the same division, so they have the same units available. Tank destroyers, which are these here, as well as some bombers and some troop trucks that will spawn bazooka troops, as we have being. In order to spawn units, you do get cash. You can see on the far left and right, you have income bars scrolling up over time. And so the name of the game is how you manage your cash, what units you buy, how you utilize them, how you mobilize and move them around the map, get them into advantageous positions so that you don't lose them, as we have right now, 2 tank destroyers pushing out around this house with an artillery lobbing rounds up and over it, staying safe. Makes it pretty tough to deal with, although these 2 tank destroyers are pushing up on these towers. And the general idea is to spawn in units so that you can then push forward, destroy the enemy's towers, and eventually kill their base. what we have right now is a bit of a middle ground battle, mid-game battle. Usually around the 10-minute mark is a mid-game for a Final Assault match. 20 to 30 minutes is usually how long a match will go, although we have seen hour-long matchups. So each side pushing forward, trying to take out units, trying to get rid of these towers so that they can have their kind of in a game of League of Legends or a MOBA. You have these lanes pushing by default. They have creeps or troops that push down through them, and you can support those troops by sending in units like tanks, or having artillery barrages land on them. Or you can reinforce those lanes with troop trucks, as we see here. Here's one troop truck adding additional units to this north lane. And then on the other side, we have Quokka putting down bazooka trucks, which are spawning bazooka troops. Not seeing any of that coming in from Sporks, and he is losing towers. He's lost the central tower, losing this one up in the north. Things are going to only get worse from here for Sporks if he doesn't get rid of all of these tank destroyers as well that has managed to capture the high ground. And you can see the way he's trying to counteract that is keep his units safe behind cover. He's got an artillery position on the other side of this house, which can deny units from pushing. But here we have a long-range missile strike coming in. This is a 30 cash, $30 going down the tube here, and he does send it on that location of tanks and artillery, but Sporks moving his units out of range in time, and now these tank destroyers are trying to reoccupy the land that was initially covered by those artillery. The artillery now has actually pushed forward to cover this north turret. It may be in some danger soon. Bazooka troops are pushing up. Really got Sporks on the back foot. Although that push from Quokka was a pretty heavy investment. That was all of his cash. So no tank destroyers coming out. So he can't reinforce his troop, his squadron in the center here. And now they're in trouble. He's going to lose these two tank destroyers. Sporks can push these two forward, grab himself a middle turret potentially, depending on how he micros this. But yeah, he can easily position them on the downslope, and I wonder how far Quokka has to push in order to get a line of sight onto these tanks. And what you're seeing here is just a ton of micro. A lot of back and forth. Quokka pushing forward just a little bit with his tank destroyer. Sporks dropping back with his. Each player paying very close attention to their individual units. And as such, you're not really seeing a massive influx of units come in. You don't see 15 tanks rolling around because that's incredibly hard to micromanage. And you have 3 to 4 tank destroyers that are getting maneuvered across the map, trying to poke and prod away at the defense. They really want to get rid of this middle turret here, because as soon as that goes down, Sporks is going to be able to push forward and really start to take control of the high ground. He can't do that right now, and Quokka's got the advantage. He keeps being able to push back this aggression, and a nice trade tank destroyer for tank destroyer there in the center. Quokka's now in a bit of a tough position. 3 TDs pushing forward on this turret. Easily get sandwiched and get double shot. Not the ideal for his. Oh, a nice push. I wonder why he's backing off this. He must not feel confident with the high ground. Oh, he's trying to micro away from these bombers. Here comes the fighter to reinforce. And it doesn't get it. A nice counter fighter positioned there. Picks off a quick response from Sporks, and oh, he does manage to get the bomber. That's a nice pickup. He threads the needle between these two fighters that were defending it. Does manage to grab one bomber. That's going to keep his tank destroyers relatively safe. Although they are so low on HP that a potential strafing run here from the fighters may be able to pick off this tank destroyer. And that's what Quokka's trying to do. He's trying to strafe this tank destroyer down. You can see how little HP it has on it. It's just 1 or 2 shots away. And these bullets from these fighters cannot quite land on the tank destroyer. Now we have a 3 TD push coming on this lane. It is seriously threatening the towers on the south side here. In the meantime, bit of an aerial battle. It's really drawing a lot of attention from Quokka. Things are going to start to shift into Sporks' advantage. He's gotten 2 cash grabs. Meaning that throughout the course of this game, cash drops on these X-marked locations. It's random on which one it will drop at, but once it drops, there's a decent amount of cash to be had from it. And here comes one now up in the north. You can see a battle. It actually goes to Quokka. He somehow manages to get that right under Sporks' nose. That's going to mean an instant tank destroyer buy comes out. A nice influx of cash into the net worth of Quokka. He's going to be able to threaten not Sporks now. He can actually answer back to that tank destroyer squad that was pushing him earlier. And I think Sporks recognizes this. He quickly dropped back from his forward position, trying to reinforce his defense with some our hidden artillery positioning. Well, you can see these two arties here accompanying the tank destroyers. And it's a very passive move here from not Sporks. He's going to force Quokka, I believe, to push forward up through the center here. A 4 tank destroyer deep army could be a serious threat to Sporks. Gotta be careful here. The south push still going on nicely. He's reinforced it. He's moved that troop truck on the north over to the south. So we've got 3 troop trucks here on the south, which is giving him this lane advantage. It's keeping his troops right up at the towers on the south. It is almost going unnoticed by Quokka, but he's actually reinforced the north lane. So instead of trying to counteract the aggression on the south, he's trying to put some aggression of his own up north, and he's sent 4 bazooka trucks up there. Bazooka troops, arguably not the greatest. And here comes the push. This is the push from Quokka. The artillery strike's coming in. He's trying to catch out this defense, the squad on defense here. Missile does just land on the 1 tank destroyer. The rest of them were considering pushing up. They're actually taking some shots of their own and some good answering back with the bombing run coming in here to grab a tank destroyer off the front line. Oh no, that one's just barely alive. Interesting way to keep back those tank destroyers from pushing forward, though. The artillery on the other side of the hill as well, being a nice threat, lobbing rounds up and over. It's even actually able, wow, to hit the lane. So that's what's keeping this defense safe here from these bazooka troops. The artillery pounding away at this north lane. So far, we're into a pretty dang good series for this 3rd place match. Another missile strike coming in. Ooh, does land on the artillery. That was being a threat to the north lane. The tank destroyer has also shifted its defensive position so it can fire on the troop trucks here, on the bazooka troops. And I wonder if that's the right idea. It does look like it is one-shotting them and preventing it from getting close enough, but it also easily counteracted by a couple of tank destroyers of its own. Anti-air's coming out here in order to defend these tank destroyers from any bombers. They're going to come in from Quokka. And a nice pickup there. 1 tank destroyer goes down. Here comes a little pincer push onto another up north. Might go unnoticed. Ooh, and another tank coming around to the left side. A bit of a tank destroyer exchange here. Oh, and it actually passes up one that was low health. Not micromanaging that enough. Here comes the strafing runs onto the tank destroyers. Those shouldn't be enough to take that one down. It's got a little bit more HP than just a sliver of health. And now the AA is here to reinforce. It's able to take down fighters strafing. And here comes a 4 tank destroyer push from Sporks onto the front line. He does actually have a turret he has to deal with yet. Those forward turrets already taken down by Quokka on the north. And now actually these tank destroyers on the hill positioned perfectly to pepper away at the base turret. Wonder why he's pulled those back there. Now he has 2 firing away. Down goes 1 base turret. Shots start ringing out on another. This is not looking optimal here for Quokka. The lane of bazooka troops is a very risky one to push also, which is interestingly enough something Sporks has to be wary of. He can't necessarily charge forward through this lane. or his tanks and tank destroyers will be vulnerable to damage. Instead, he should really focus on the south. It's actually criminally under-defended. Another cargo crate drop coming in. The map's pretty much controlled by Spork, so this cash drop should go into his hand. Coming down in the north there. Ooh, and a missile, double missile strike from both sides. Oh, and a great prediction. Grabs a direct hit onto 2 tank destroyers. Nice moves from Sporks keep his army well and alive, and that is not good for this defensive side on the south here. These tank destroyers could easily pick off the remaining HP of these remaining tank destroyers. Down they go, and now the defense is criminally weak on the south. This turret's going to get scooped up and picked off, and there's 2 tanks and 2 tank destroyers down here that are going to go undefended. In comes the artillery to start slamming away at the other base turrets or the potential troop trucks that were sending in bazooka troops. And now only 1 tank destroyer here to defend this. The planes trying to strafe down these tank destroyers, but they are peppering away at the base of Quokka, and I think this is going to be it. He doesn't have the cash to send in enough tanks or tank destroyers to defend from this. He doesn't have the bazooka troops here to pepper away. He's trying to shift them to the south lane, but it might be a little bit too late. He doesn't recognize this push until it's been too late. Down go the troop trucks. Bombers coming in, actually. That may be the saving grace to Quokka, but I don't think he can get it in time. All the shots ripping out, and Sporks secures himself with map number 1. Very nice map pickup from Sporks there. Able to secure himself with that first round in the series. I think that was Sporks' map pick as well. So we now shift over into Quokka's map of choice. As a reminder, the winner of that series cannot pick that division again, so we will not be seeing a Gallon versus Gallon again. I do anticipate a Beaumont versus Beaumont here, though. Wallenberg is a map historically that plays very well into artillery and long-range units, so the Calliope under the hands of Beaumont will be super effective on this map in particular, and I do wonder if that's why Quokka picked into it, because he will be switching into a Beaumont, but maybe not. Oh! Interesting. Want to wait until we have Orcs in game. So turn his covering Gallon, but he can't pick that now after winning map 1 with it. Has to go with a different division, and there are 6 to choose from. 3 German divisions and 3 American. And once he's ready, we should be hopping into round number 2. Wolf versus Simmons is what it's looking like for now. Both teams readied up. Wait around much longer for the second set. These guys don't need breaks, and I don't need one either. After a quick 20 or 15 minute round for round number 1, we're going to hop right into round 2. Orcs versus Quokka, $100 on the line. Well, technically $300 on the line. But whoever loses this will be taking away, will be coming away with $200, which is not bad, and the winner will be coming away with $300. So it's essentially a $100 match right here. This is a must-win for Quokka. If he doesn't come out ahead, Sporks taking the series. Dive right in. On your left, we have Quokka. On your right is Sporks. If we get any game audio. So it does look like we will have the action-packed blasting of tanks and artillery. Soothe your ears in combat today. The game is normally not silent, as you may expect. Pretty standard tank artillery combos getting sent out here, though. Actually, the interesting part is the differentiation in where they're going. Sporks is prioritizing this north hilltop, while Quokka has opted to send his into the south and instantly pick away at this south turret. The real interesting thing is if he manages to really seize control of the south here, put some troop trucks over on this X location, he can send troops in onto the south lane much quicker. In contrast, if Sporks can take the north, he can also send troops and tanks down this middle lane much faster, right into the turrets. So, see what sort of moves we see after a few minutes have passed and the teams have mustered up their armies. Tanks sitting here in the center. Now I'm going to shift those to the south. We're just having a bit of a tower race here. Each artillery poking away at the respective turrets. And this is why I assumed Quokka picked Wolf. I wanted to verify that the artillery trucks were in fact on Wolf's side, and they are. And with Wallenberg and Wolf, the artillery trucks are going to be super effective. They're going to be able to really push forward a lot faster than a Calliope or any other artillery and instantly threaten lanes like they are right now, just peppering away at these base turrets. This is actually a huge early game push, 2:30 in here, and Quokka is slamming away at base turrets. I do not know what the course of action is. It actually seems like it's going to be to counter push. A base turret already down up on the north. One's coming down here. The full court press on the south, though, has to be defended against soon. A bomber coming in from Sporks would be vital in order to deal with these grouped up units. Wow, look at how many have been allowed to push here. We're into a bit of a base race right now. Sporks is focusing the north. He's actually able to do some base damage with the artillery. But uh-oh, on the south, 3 minutes in, and a massive push coming in from Quokka. 3 tanks, 4 tanks, 5 tanks, an artillery truck and artillery up on the high hill. How is he going to defend against this? He needs that tier 4 bomber to come in and reinforce. The base race is still in full force, though. The artillery finally getting picked off. Half health's Quokka. In the meantime, enemies are in his base. 3 tanks here to destroy his base. He tries to send out some jeeps at low cost to defend, but he may have nothing here. He can't get out tanks in time. He's trying to get rid of the one low HP one he has. And he's fortunate enough that all these tanks are so focused on the base. He may be able to temporarily prevent this push from going any further on his base HP. And we may actually get into a bit of a stalemate here where both have half health. Wow. Sporks just barely able to defend. It actually gets some fantastic counter damage done as well, but another low income push coming in here. And the reason I say low income is because tanks are actually very cheap for Quokka. They're cheaper for Quokka than they are for Sporks. Because of how divisions work, Quokka is a tank, not a tank focused, but a armor focused division, whereas Sporks is an aerial focused one, or excuse me, a troop focused one. So now Quokka can really pump out the tanks at I think two cash lower than Sporks can, and so when it's a difference between 8 and 10 cash, that is a decent amount. You're talking about these pushes, and somehow that tank push completely falters, but there's more. 5 more tanks on the backside are here to push in, and the tough thing about a heavy troop having so many units is how to micro them, and you can see Quokka has to invest all his time here in managing these tanks, trying to get them to push forward. He really wants to finalize this match. He's got 5 minutes on the clock. He's trying to get rid of Sporks. Somehow, Sporks is able to hang on to this defense. Completely shuts down the early game push, and now it's time for Quokka to shift heavy into his artillery truck strategy. Interesting to see actually that he invested so heavily in tanks instead of trying to get some more artillery trucks out, because of how you can position them. Right now, this artillery truck is going to be a huge threat to this grouping. Ooh, and a nice answer back. Sends one tank on the other side to prevent it from escaping. So he will get one troop truck. He's sending another tank to get rid of the artillery. And a missile strike coming in. Where is this headed, I wonder? Onto the tanks? Oh, onto the base of Sporks. He is going to force the aggression out, and I think Sporks is going to have to push now. What he's actually trying to do is hide his tanks behind this hill so that he can get out of line of sight of Quokka, but he's not quite there. Quokka's pushed forward enough where I think he'll see those tanks. He might actually see an opportunity to push. He just needs a few tanks in here. Another artillery strike coming in, and I think this is going to be it for Sporks. There's no way he can defend against the missile coming in, and down he goes. Quokka, with a great answer back, takes us to a best of 3. Getting a great bit of back and forth here in this best of 3 for 3rd place. But wow, that was a quick match. Quokka just applying the pressure early. Able to secure himself with enough damage onto the base where he can start sending missile strikes into it. Which sure costs 30 cash, but overall was the right choice. He would have had a much tougher time getting all those tanks. He probably spent 30 cash on tanks trying to get them through that line and couldn't. Radio in here to see if both players are ready. That was an 8-minute match, though. Incredibly quick. Now Sporks gets to pick map of his choice. That does mean Wolf is off the table for Quokka. Forward pass for our 3rd and final round. The $100 decider, if you will. Did I say $300? Sporks opting in for that Simmons pick again. Didn't quite work out for him last round, but Maybe he can make it work here. And Quokka also picking into the Simmons. Without further ado, we're going to hop into the final match of this third place series. On your right, we have Quokka. On your left, we have Sporks. They'll both be going for aerial dominance and aerial bombardments as their path to victory. At least that's most likely how that pans out. Got some early buys coming in with early fighters on the side of Quokka. Not necessarily on characteristics. Tip off Sporks to anything. And the standard artillery tank buy coming out from Sporks. Doesn't look like we're going to have any audio for. Turn that background music up just a touch. Give you something to hear while I let my voice rest when we get through the early game. Aerial battle going on here. Quokka trying to gain early dominance of the skies. First cash drop is coming in, and it's going to be going into the center. Push coming in on the side of Sporks, and he'll be grabbing that first cash drop. Do expect a very heavy micro-focused game here, though. It's going to be a lot of aerial combat. If it's not, it's going to be each division buying into their weaknesses. Although I suppose troop truck's certainly an option here as a means of winning. The mortar troops are actually some of the most effective troops that you can put out, in my opinion. 2 mortar troop trucks getting sent out. And that's actually an indicator to both sides of what division's being played. Mortar troops are unique to Simmons. And so now after only 2 minutes, both teams know what division they're going up against and what units they can expect to see. Something you'll notice that happens in the early game. Sometimes players will try and hide the division they're playing. They want to hide the units that are available to them so that they can surprise the enemy. Maybe a surprise Calliope or a surprise unit that's not expected because it is specific to a division. Not the case in this series. Both players posing their division picks right away, and actually a 4 mortar truck investment coming in on the south. Actually want to try and shift that focus around to the north side. An artillery truck in a very dangerous position, able to lob rounds right into the base turret on this north side. And a tank coming in. Cargo drop comes down. It is the focus of Quokka, which he does get, but in the meantime, he's losing base turret HP. AA also positioned here on the corner. That's going to prevent fighters being a real threat to these troops that are pushing up here. Interesting we don't see something similar happen on the south. What would be really great here is an anti-air to be pushed up. Prevent these strafing runs from coming in and taking down all of these units pushing in the south. Artillery truck is just doing work And in the north, I think it's actually doing damage to both turrets. Oh, no, excuse me. That's the troops that are... That's the mortar truck. Oh, yeah, that's what that is. We don't see mortars getting shot out of these mortars. The players do. There's a spectate bug. But the mortars are peppering away at these base turrets. It's going completely unnoticed by Quokka. He's so focused on sending troops up onto the south that he's not even aware of how he's just getting worked away here on the north. Down go 2 turrets. He's got his base open. Those troop trucks now. A risky position. The mortar is going to reinforce this lane, taking down any troops that are trying to reinforce it. We might have a mortar v mortar battle here. Although we don't see any of the mortars being shot. Unfortunate spectator bug. Is Quokka going to let this push happen without him noticing? He's so focused on defending his bomber that's trying to get rid of these troops up in the north that he's not even paying attention to what's happening at his base. 2 mortar trucks down on the north side. I wonder if the mortar troops will focus the anti-air installment here as well.
That's our building. They can't shoot at that. Someone will tell them they can't shoot at that.
Got Bill Burr there saying they can't shoot at that. And now a huge Quokka, or a huge mortar truck, or mortar troop installments here. Run over by the Jeep, goes unnoticed. The Jeep's so focused on moving out to that anti-air, and you can see Sparks pulling it back. That anti-air is a serious threat. Finally, a bomber coming in, helps answer back and defend the north. Oh, wow, and this anti-air installment's getting very, very forward. Jeep's pushing up on it, denying it from being able to sit right at the front door of his base. That tank almost goes down. He needs reinforcement from his armored units of his own. He wants to defend that anti-air, and he's actually going to put it back up on the hill as he sends these tanks forward. Could actually have... No, it doesn't have a line of sight onto that bomber, and he's actually got tanks now peppering away at the base. The only thing that can defend against these tanks is the bomber run. Does get one. There's still one here peppering away at the base of Quokka. Ooh, and actually sending a bomber of his own in here. Grabs the anti-air on the south side. Interestingly, don't know why he sent it to the south. I guess he did grab a bunch of troop trucks in that strafing run, so probably worth it, but you'd think he'd want the north anti-air down so that he can reinforce his push that is going on still on the north side. And now he's got his entire troop platoon firing away. Strafing runs coming in from fighters trying to deny this presence here. Finally, a bombing run denies the tank its ability to continue its push, but that base is incredibly low health, and here comes another bombing run. This one will be focused on the AA up in the north. Oh, actually, he's going for the base bomb. And that is something he can continue to do if he so desires, although he could also artillery down the base at this point. Give Quokka a bit of his own medicine and win on the exact same condition that he lost on last round. Something he's going to have to do now if he wants to, although he's so focused on this push up north instead that it might not actually come. He's trying to direct all these tanks to push forward. All the while, Quokka's just trying to get that bomber in there and take it down. It gets picked off by what? I'm not sure. But this could be it for Quokka. A big, full bombing run gets sent off.
This is worse than that time my cousin Betty won the fighting contest.
And Sporks,
No one let me live that down. And this is worse than that.
crowned
Lost bad.
our third place champion of Season 2. He'll be going away with $100 more than Quokka, who is now positioned in 4th place. What an interesting way to end the series. Not exactly what I would have predicted. as the outcome. But Sporks, with a great job answering back on that final round, does secure himself with the series. We got more action coming. That isn't it for us here today. That was just a preamble, if you will. What we have coming up is the finals. Number 1 versus number 2. I'll be squaring off in, say, roughly 15 minutes. Starting right about on the hour. My thought. So we will be taking a brief intermission here to prep both players. Have them get ready. Let me rest my voice. I will be taking a break as well, and so we will send you off just for a few minutes as we prep both squads, and we'll be coming right back for the finals of Season 2, VRML with Final Assault. Don't go anywhere. More action coming at you. Welcome, everybody, to the Season 2 VRML Final Assault Grand Finals. My name is Nightfire with 2 E's. I am joined by my co-caster, Triple Nipple. We'll be bringing you some high-octane action today. Trip, how are you feeling about the upcoming matches? You just watched the third place match go down in a couple of minutes. Yep. Yeah, that was a very quick round 3 of really, I mean, he was pushing base turrets at 3 minutes. So certainly some interesting early game strats, which I do expect to see here on this first map. Wallenberg with Beastrick and Naukau both picking into Wolf. We will see a lot of those artillery trucks coming out here to utilize around the opposite side of the walls. It's going to be quite a crazy back and forth. Also probably a pretty quick match, but as I say that, I knock on some wood because I may in fact jinx it, as we do have a mirror matchup. And I don't think we're going to wait around much longer for this round 1 to start. You have any thoughts before we go in, Trip? No. We are going to hop into round number 1 without any further ado. No more waiting around. We're going to see how both of these guys square off in Wallenberg. On your left, we have Beastrick. On your right, we have Naukau, both picking into Wolf divisions. How this goes. I think I got to get your audio coming in, Trip. I don't know. Oh, look at that. We're blessed with game audio as well.
Game audio is the best.
All right, now Trip's here, guys. I've got him on the horn. You can hear him. Problem solved.
Hey, everybody. Long time no cast.
He is here. Beastrick starting off with an early 2-tank spawn into the center. Naukau kind of holding on to his artillery tank combo, although he's just sending one artillery out. Standard fighter strafe on the south, getting rid of the lane to get his south lane pushed forward. Here comes the early game move from Naukau. 2 tanks and an artillery coming in from the south and maybe a tank from the north.
Yeah, that artillery is going to do a pretty good job of plugging up that lane. And those tanks are just going to hold that high ground, not let the enemy artillery move up there. Pretty strong positioning. And I wonder if he can ping that tank in the middle with that artillery. Beastrick sending a tank over now, coming towards the artillery.
Ooh, and that artillery truck. Yeah, the artillery truck's going to come in and reinforce from the low ground as well. You might not even need that tank to push forward.
Yeah, quick flick back from Naukau. I definitely didn't see that walking Stuka come in until it started shooting.
Yeah, that's going to be Beastrick giving away his Wolf division pick, though, and now Naukau well aware that they are into a mirror matchup. I wonder what he's going to do to counteract this, because already you got one Stuka on the south here, peppering away at base turrets. He's got to react there, and another one up in the north, slamming away at his tanks that are defending the cash drop, and so it's going to start to get a little hairy for him. Can't really win these battles on this alternating ground if he doesn't have any artillery to support him.
Not seeing a whole lot of aggressive pushing from Naukau yet. Just a little bit of defend here, defend there. But Beastrick's running those Stukas all around the map, trying to clear lanes with like minimal effort. Doesn't want to invest heavily into those low tier.
We got a little Stuka battle here down in the south, both going at it as the tank tries to reinforce. 3 troop trucks getting dropped down into that south lane, but none of them actually spawning to that south lane. There, now they go.
Crate drop going towards the north. It looks like Naoko's going to get that unopposed.
Yeah, one of the only one of 3 crate drops that wasn't being guarded by Beastrix. So Naoko very fortunate that that goes up into the north. He actually does take the center with a nice 2-tank push. That's going to be reinforced by Stuka over here to also start to pepper away up at that hilltop positioning. Does grab 1 tank, goes unnoticed by Naoko, and now the Stuka's here. And it's just on a bit of a patrol route. It's going to be able to avoid the enemy Stuka's artillery shots and at the same time continually toss a couple over at that base turret when it gets in range.
Yeah, that's a really nice patrol route set up by Naoko there. And he's got 2 Stukas up there, so that high ground advantage, man, is just crazy.
We have patrol routes coming in all over the place. There's 4. We got 2 Stukas patrolling up onto the north hill. 2 trying to counteract that patrol by sending rounds from the lower end of the hill.
And a tank battle going on the north hill. I think that's north.
You orient with the colors and then go with direction.
South.
Yeah, now finally Naoko going to be able to hammer away at that turret for himself, get himself a little damage on that forward-facing south turret. Ooh, 3 Stukas coming in to answer. They don't like this very much. They don't like that base turret taking damage.
And I don't think Naoko microed his Stuka enough, and it was taking shots at the infantry as they walked by instead of shooting directly at the turret. Little missed opportunities.
It is a Stuka bonanza right now.
There's so much firepower.
None of it's really landing though because of these patrolling routes. These artillery shots not finding that Stuka in the center. The tank's still full health.
You know, it's really like you could use the explosions from the Stukas, even though they're missing, to screen your tanks in there. Because it's just so hard to see what's happening when all the explosions are going off.
Yeah, there is a lot of effects. Smokes, explosions. Neither one of them has upgraded to their final tier yet either.
They're pretty neck and neck on net worth and tower health.
Yeah, we could be in for a long one here if this is how it continues to go.
So normally when you see a match, a mirror match, doesn't it? Like one of those people is obviously better at that player.
Yeah.
But
in most cases, there's oftentimes, I mean, there's routes to victory, right? Like Naoko has this central lane up in the north he can push if he wants. He can put artillery like he has up on the hill that can lob a bit longer range than the Stukas can. Just a matter of how you manage your troops and if you continue to just sort of do a back and forth fling at each other. Right now, Beastrix really massing up a bunch of Stukas. He could put up a pretty interesting forward push, and if he gets control of this rooftop, of this middle hill, excuse me, he can almost push in and get right into the front of Naoko's base and have that Stuka just pepper away at anything that comes out, any of the base turrets. There's different options of attack if they decide to go for them. It's just a matter of how you manage your troops, if you can micro everything you have on the field effectively enough. It actually might be a turret here for Naoko. He might be able to slip in some damage onto that. Oh, he doesn't. It gets distracted by the troops and the Stukas that are coming in.
yeah, it looks like Beastrix was getting ready to like slowly move his defensive line forward, and all of a sudden Naoko pushed in on that one side and started peppering a tower, and it forced him to reevaluate.
Tanks coming up to try and get rid of those Stukas. A nice fallback from Naoko puts the Stukas into a much better defensive position, and now they can pepper away at this tank squadron. Jeez Louise. Can't even see what's going on. Somebody's
There's
losing
a tank
tanks.
in there somewhere. Here come more from Beastrick. It looks like he's opting to push forward with all of his units that he's got on the field right now. He's got his tanks moving up. His Stukas are taking that middle hill.
They're trying to. Both of them are super low. It's very risky business for them right now. They're fortunate enough that the lane is there that's drawing attention from the one Stuka that's patrolling. Does manage to get one of the low ground and does instantly back off. One thing you'll notice in these higher tier games is that the players are much more aware of their units. They're very good at drawing back just in, to avoid being in range of a battle they don't want to fight. They're good at microing them to go right where they want them to. But micro does draw attention, and right now Beastrick's getting some free fire onto this turret on the south.
Beastrick had to pull back in the south, though. All of his units except one Stuka go down, but his center and his north pushes are looking very good.
Yeah.
I say that, and then tanks just disappear off the map, so they were looking good.
Losing the tanks isn't so devastating once they've gotten the high ground, because then they can send the Stukas onto this patrol route, avoid any enemy Stuka fire, and be able to pepper away at the base turret up in the north right now.
Yeah, that's one tower down. There it goes. First tower of the game.
That could have gone to the side of Nauko if he managed to get this turret on the south, which is one shot away from going down. The tank will not fire on that turret, though.
Supply drop in the south. Who's going to get it? It's all in the fire. No one's there. Oh, Beastrick pulls it out with the motorcycle.
Yep. You can see Nauko tried to answer in time, but he couldn't get there. So a cast drop that's going to be pretty dang important goes into the hands of Beastrick in this mid game right now. It's going to mean more Stukas pressuring the defensive line of Nauko, and if he can keep this up, he may be able to really apply some pressure up north. Surprised we're not seeing more troop trucks getting redirected there, because he has gotten one tower. He has the ability to kind of poke and prod from the hill. He can even send tanks up that clean lane right through the center and be right at the front door of Nauko. Nauko recognizes the danger and starts to pull back his troop trucks.
Yeah, and if we take a look at the balance on the field here, it's 7 Stukas to 1. Beastrick definitely has the advantage right now, and he's pushing in through that north side. I'm not really sure. Like, I didn't really see that swing happen, but all of a sudden, it's very in Beastrick's favor. He's got tanks rolling into the base now.
And he's got the Stukas right where I said he's got to put them on the other side of the wall. They're going to be able to avoid any tank fire, but they can also pepper away at anything that comes out from the front. He is sending one tank around to try and deal with that Stuka. It's getting slammed from the hilltop above.
Yeah, he's got those Stukas layered in defense.
He's even bringing another one to reinforce that one that was low HP now. He could push these troops up to the front door. I'm surprised he still hasn't shifted these troop trucks that he has on the south lane up onto that north lane, because he could really apply the pressure there if he wanted to. I guess technically he's applying it on both fronts, right? He's got a tank now coming into the south that's forcing one Stuka to be invested there. All the while, 3, 4, 5 Stukas up in the north, potentially. They're starting to pepper away at the anti-air defense and the base of Nauko.
Yeah, nothing that comes out of that garage is really out of range of those Stukas at this point, so there's not a whole lot that he can do. I mean, he's not losing base health yet, but he's not getting anywhere either.
Interestingly enough.
Oh, motorcycle rush, here we go.
Yeah, it's odd that we're not seeing a heavier push right now.
I think they're right here. We got 5 tanks coming in the north, or in the south.
Damn.
No, in the north.
We get a big overhead. Yeah, 5 tanks, 4 Stukas on the front line. You got 2 Stukas on the south with 1 tank on the south as well. Nauko is getting peppered from every conceivable angle. Here is the game-winning push.
Defenses are weakening, Commander. Take care of our base.
And
That's it.
I mean, you're right, though. When did that swing happen? I think it was with that cast drop.
I think it was. I think that's what he waited for, because, like, I never saw a battle that that went one way or another. It was all just everything's dying, and then all of a sudden there's 5 Stukas in.
Either way, a great win for Bstrick. Self up with an early lead, and that is one thing that I want to point out that Bstrick's very good at. In that, he's so stellar with the early game. So effective with his units early. He doesn't really need to often buy into his tier 2 or 3 until much later than other players do. We didn't really see that happen there, though. He really just kind of went right into the mid game with Stukas right away, and we had that mid game battle at about 3 minutes instead of 10. Yes. Yeah, we've been applied throughout the entirety of, well, most of the season and all through group and stage and semifinals. So, yeah, Wolf is off of the table for Bstrick now. They're going to be going on to St. Ulrich's. That is Bstrick's map choice. So, gets the map win on Nalco's map choice. Now he gets to pad his advantage potentially here if he can get this Galland versus Von Ritter win. Push things forward on St. Ulrich's. We'll see just how things shake out. We'll wait around any longer for round number 2 to get underway. As a reminder, if you are just dropping by, this is the finals, so we are into a best of 5. So although it does have only have slots for 3 scores, very well be moving into a best of 5. And well, I guess it depends, right? If Bstrick takes all 3 maps, yeah, we'll be done in 3. But if Nalco can grab a couple here, moving into a best of 5, it certainly isn't one-sided, as we did see Nalco do a great job of battling back Bstrick early. But Bstrick really overwhelmed at about 10 minutes. We'll see if that happens again here on a much tighter map.
Picking into a air division? Not... I don't know.
Yeah, we've seen some really great play coming in from the air divisions. Nalco is going to have those early sniper planes he can bring out. It'll be a few... They're actually... This map in particular is it's a great pick to pick Von Ritter, because those sniper planes can actually be peppering away any base defense you put to defend at those front towers, because the anti-air installments are way back tucked in over base. And so your entire, basically like your whole turtle defense strategy can get nullified by an effective sniper plane here. And you can see Nalco wants full aerial control. He does have 3 fighters up in his sky, up over his base now.
Yeah, I guess I look at it the other way. With such a small map, you can cross the ground so quickly with the ground units that having that aerial unit is not. I would always choose aerial on a larger map, but I guess I'm also not in the finals, so maybe
yeah.
I don't.
What do you know? Now we will see. I saw the Von Ritter pick come in yesterday, I think, in the semis, and it was just nearly a perfect counter map. But it's all of a matter of how you use the units. And we'll see how these planes come in. I don't think Bstrick knows that he's up against a Von Ritter yet. Hasn't been indicated. He still hasn't bought any specific unit of that class. Oh, he does actually have 2. Never mind. He does have 2 sniper planes out now. So Bstrick should be aware. And you could see it. As soon as he found that out, actually, he had an artillery installed a bit farther forward. He pulled it back to be tucked in to the AA that does defend his base. And that's exactly what I mean. He can't have any tanks too far out unless he has the air superiority to reinforce it.
Yeah, and that air superiority is going to be hard to get when the planes for Bstrick cost, what, $2 more than the planes for Nalco?
Yep. It is a bit more expensive to buy in there.
And that mobile AA is pricey.
Already things are definitely going into the favor of Nalco. He's got a great fighter swarm over the center of the map, defending his sniper planes. Will take out any units that try and push out from his base. Got control of all cash drops. We have one coming in.
So Bstrick spent all his money, and he has unlocked his final tier.
Yeah.
Is he gonna go for those heavy tanks and just go for a hard push through the fighter screen?
Tank destroyers should be able to hold up a bit better against the sniper planes, but he's still going to need something in the sky to get rid of them because he'll just slowly get picked off with tank destroyers if he tries to push. They're not necessarily fast enough. But to your point, he may be able to get them into a position quickly so that he can pepper away at some of these turrets from a pretty good distance. The tank destroyers have great range. If that's a thing that can happen, is debatable right now. Naoko looking like he has full map control.
Yeah, he's got tanks, artillery, anti-air, all up in the middle there. So now he's even stopping the fighter screens from B-Strike from pushing out, and it's not looking good. I mean, we haven't seen any real confrontation yet, but it's just it's leaning. It looks like it's leaning into Naoko's favor for me.
Yeah, look at the overall net worth, 164 to 106. So certainly more cash on the field for Naoko than there is for B-Strick. B-Strick's really just relegated to turtling this match out. You're gonna have to wait around. So I don't know what. He has a large enough fighter swarm to deal with the enemy fighters. I'm not sure. He does manage to get 2 there. Pick off. But that artillery is just lobbing rounds into his base turrets right now.
Yeah, B-Strick has to push something out to stop that. And I don't know what that something is. I mean, he's got 2 tank destroyers, but they're basically guarding the lanes.
Even his troop trucks are vulnerable to getting sniped from because the range of the AA is not very long and it's so tucked back that he can't even get troop trucks out. That one was instantly picked off. And this map certainly into the favor of Von Ritter here with the AA so far back. He's got to figure out something to counteract this.
Tank destroyers moving up into the middle. No support though.
Couple of tanks, artillery, troop trucks, everything getting thrown at it here. You can see how many resources it does actually take, though, to get rid of one of those tank destroyers, and you can't even get rid of one.
Yeah, I think B-Strick was hoping for one of those backup shots.
Yep.
When he pulled that guy away, and it just turned around and ran, and I'm pretty sure you could see him shake his head. He's like, no, that's not what I wanted.
One turret goes down. The hands of Naoko, but B-Strick is starting to turtle up here. Got 3 tank destroyers in his base. Surprised not to see no sniper planes come in and try and harass these tanks that are just sitting there. Maybe it is because that AA is circling around in the center now. Does actually snag a fighter, and things are starting to swing into B-Strick's favor.
Artillery putting shots onto the tank destroyer unopposed.
Yeah, it's a bit of a micro mismanagement there. He's not necessarily guiding the tank destroyer around. The Jeeps come in trying to get rid of the artillery. They get picked off by tanks. And a bunch of trading going on in the south. 1 tank destroyer for 2 tanks. Or a troop truck gets pushed up. And
Jeep did get an AA in the middle of the field, so that is a little bit of a good thing.
Yeah, you can see as soon as that went down, B-Strick tried to get his fighters up over the sky in the center.
And Naoko immediately reinforces that AA with a new AA.
Jeez, this is going to be the win condition for Naoko. Look at the troop truck count in his base.
Yikes. I didn't even see those.
It is a hearty amount, and something that B-Strick can't contest against unless he sends troop trucks of his own, tanks, really, to counteract it. He can't put down troop trucks because they just get sniped. And he can't afford to invest into AA too much or else it's not worth it. And actually, the sniper does snag the 1 AA that was circling around in the center of the base.
Yeah, and those tank destroyers, while they're powerful, they don't work well against infantry. They only take down a few in a line, and with a 50 man infantry advantage, there's definitely going to be some pressure to spawn something other than a tank destroyer to deal with it.
Artillery would do nice for big groupings like this. But he's got no turrets to prevent the troops from just pushing forward now. He's only got one in the south. He's got sniper planes peppering away anything he sends out to defend in the center, and he has to put everything over his AA at his base. Can't even afford to push out from there, and he is really in a tough spot now with these sniper planes just peppering anything that comes out. The AA doesn't have range to actually deal with it unless it's circling in and is able to catch them on a rotation.
Yeah, that sniper plane just keeps making its passes on that AA, and it goes down.
Yeah, already are the answer to the defense. Bstrick realizes his attempts at winning this game are pretty dang futile. And this is, I mean, look at Nalco. Look at that army he had in the center. Look at what he was preparing to unleash onto Bstrick with no towers.
Yeah, that was impressive. That's not how... I mean, for an air division, too, like, there's a lot of ground units here.
Yep. Certainly a good way of playing that, that division. But yeah, we are in a best of 5, although we only have 3 available scores displayed here. It certainly is a best of 5. So now we have things evened out. Going into our round 3, curious to see how things swing. Like Nalco opting for Corvid Pass. Map number 3. As a reminder, that does mean that Von Ritter off the table for Nalco, and he opts in for a Simmons pick. I do expect to see a very similar strategy to what we saw in that last map. He's probably going to go heavy on troops and opt in for actually bombers to be the aerial threat instead. So, see if Von Ritter can counteract that sort of play style. Don't wait around any longer. We're going to dive right into Corvid Pass for round number 3. A couple of quick rounds 1 and 2 though, huh? 12 and 7 minutes apiece.
That's not going to affect him at all, and he's just going to play it like he always does.
I would like to see some things get shaken up, but if I'm one to guess, I think Bstrick is going to play it exactly how he's played other rounds. Although, if anyone's practiced, it certainly is Bstrick. I know he was putting in a lot of time on figuring out early game strategies against AI. And do anticipate some early game pushing, for the very least.
Aww. So, yeah, this is one of those small maps with the elevation changes and whatnot. I really would have thought someone would have picked some sort of ground artillery base.
Beaumont would have been the right choice for a Corvid Pass map like this. You can get Calliopes into position, or Calliopes, excuse me, into position where they can just slam away at base turrets if they put them up on the hill, and so not have that here. Well, interesting decisions, but Wolf is off the table for Bstrick, so you can't have the troop trucks come in.
No, for Nalco.
Here. Is that for now? Yeah, no, Nalco won last round. Bstrick won with.
Oh, Bstrick won first. Yeah, you're right. So it seems like Bstrick's saving his Beaumont for something, because I've seen his Beaumont, and it's
it's very good. It's very fast. Another map, though, where the anti-air is tucked in. So if Naoko gets to that tier 4 unit, flies into the bombers, gets aerial control, he can really slam away at these turrets, any units that are defending. Does look like something that Beastrick is aware of, or at the very least, Beastrick is playing into the aerial hand here, and he wants to get aerial control. He's got 4 fighters circling up above the skies, and his first cast drop.
Yeah, he was peppering away at towers pretty unopposed,
Yeah.
too, with the artillery, but it looks like a little bit of mismanagement on his tank caused that to get pulled back a little bit. Now we see an AA truck rolling up on the north lanes. Kind of risky to be in the lane. I wonder where he's putting it.
Trying to get it up on that hill. Wants to tuck it in between some trees so that he can be a threat to the fighters circling freely up in the sky here. Although sniper planes can get rid of that AA pretty quick. There is only one out on the field right now for Beastrick. This AA is just chunking away at the fighter squadron.
Yeah, I guess I was really surprised that tank in the north didn't come out to meet that AA and just put a stop to it right away.
Yeah, it seems like he's
Looks like Beastrick.
more interested on maintaining control of the cast drops.
Beastrick prepping another push on the south towers. He's got 3 tanks and an artillery.
Yeah, he's
Looks
definitely
like artillery's trying to get into position with those tanks in the way.
definitely getting something ready for a push here. Got 2 tanks in the center with an artillery coming up to reinforce. The artillery in the center is like a triple purpose thing. It can cover the north lane. It can take out any aggression on the south for the south care package. It can maintain the center care package, and if he so desires, he can start to push that forward and be able to pepper away at the base uncontested.
Yeah, and it's got good coverage from those rocks
Uh-huh.
if you move it forward towards the base as well. It's like Naoko's pulling back his north mobile AA.
Tier 4 buy
Here
coming
comes-
in from Naoko. The bomber is out. That's going to threaten the positioning here of the defense of his postured tanks and artillery.
Still seems a little exposed sending just the bomber by itself.
It does have a couple of turrets on it that are actually relatively effective against taking out other aerial units. So if he can manage to trade a couple of ground units, also a couple of air units for that, it does seem worthwhile, but yeah, I do agree. Definitely no aerial support there to back it up. Really a moment where I don't know what each player is going to do here. I'm not sure what the plan is for Beastrick. I would think it would be to maintain aerial superiority, get more of these sniper planes out so they can be a threat to the ground troops that are just kind of hanging out here without much consequence. But that requires a lot of micro, and Beastrick's not necessarily micromanaging the strafing runs of each sniper plane right now.
Naoko's chasing down that sniper
Yeah.
plane, takes it down. He's got 3 fighters now covering that north hill.
And an AA.
Ooh, very, very aggressive.
Gives him a nice lead in defense here up on that north side. And you can see as soon as that AA pushes up, Beastrick draws back his fighters to cover a little bit more on the south. On any pot shots coming in from that anti-air. Another bomber coming out here.
Like it's right down the middle to clear out that care package.
AA starts to push forward just a bit too far, takes some artillery shots as well. The fighters coming in to reinforce, or attempt to reinforce the bomber. But troop trucks might be a good way to counter the aerial aggression from Naoko. The bombing can easily be dodged with a faster unit. We'll get that artillery truck. That does not. Yes, it does manage to get that first tower on the south.
And these guys are neck and neck with the net worth, basically.
Yeah. One thing that's really going, let's say, almost criminally underused is because Naoko's so focused on all his other units, on sending his bombers out, on getting air superiority, he's not necessarily stacking up the troop trucks as a great bombing run goes off in the center there. And it is something he could do. He could get those mortars out, like a stack mortar troop trucks on the south and north, and really have them start to push heavy on these lanes. He's already actually got his troops pushing up on the north. They're just not quite getting there on the south.
Yeah, that bomber does seem a little slow, although it did just pick up that tank as well. So he's cleared out the middle pretty well. Going to clear out these half tracks. They're not going to stand a chance.
They might get out in time. That first strafing run only giving him down to half health. And you can see what I mean. If you invest one fighter onto a bomber, the bomber will take out that fighter pretty easily. It's got way more health, has a couple of guns on it, doesn't need to be right behind the enemy to take it out.
There's the fighter screen from Naoko to cover his bomber.
Wow, full aerial control shifting into the hands of Naoko now. And this is something that Bistrik doesn't have anything to react to. He doesn't have any anti-air establishments on the ground. Doesn't have any fighters in the sky. Now's the time to really push these lanes with troop trucks, or at least start bombing out the turrets.
He's got one mobile AA in the center.
But yeah,
But I don't really think that can stop a bomber, although that bomber is pretty low health. He's going to send it in for the AA. Doesn't get any bombs off. It does.
just barely grabs a little health on that troop truck. The Jeep winning the trade there. He now has control of that center cash drop for when it comes down. And as I said, I think a good way of pushing is with mortar troops. You see a ton of troop trucks coming in here from Naoko. It's really a perfect time. The net worth of Bistrik is down to 50 overall, so he can afford to sort of step back, pump the brakes, and reinforce his lanes. And then in turn, ultimately apply more pressure onto Bistrik because those lanes start to push so heavily.
Did Bistrik just give up?
I think he did.
Sound strategic decisions. Well done.
Yeah.
I want to say, I hope he did. I hope he didn't DC. Because that was certainly into the heavy favor of Naoko right there. Yeah, Bistrik did indeed forfeit, so Naoko taking a 10-minute victory. Planes just not working out for Bistrik there. Not able to properly snipe ground units or defend in the air. That is something that we see happen from time to time with connection issues, lags, but it's unavoidable. Something you can't really play around in an online tournament. But that does mean we go into a series decider in this best of 5. As a reminder, this isn't a best of 3. Naoko has not won yet. Gotta take his third and final map. Does put Bistrik on the back foot. You would expect, honestly, I had Bistrik winning this series in my mind after watching the performance in the semifinals, but Naoko really proving his worth here. Some great aerial strategies, although those are now both off the table. Simmons and Von Ritter no longer options for him. Yep, Kleinstadt. Yeah. Yep. I wonder what... There must have been some sort of patching that came out that changed people's opinion on Beaumont. Because it used to be a top-tier pick. Beaumont was almost a surefire win. So hard to counteract against. But now... doesn't seem to be a favorite of anybody. As we've been getting Nichols, Wolf, Von Ritter, Galland, almost playing around that Beaumont option. To your point, maybe they're saving it. I'm not 100%, but we are diving into round number 4 of this best of 5. On your right, we have Nalco. On your left, we have Bistrik. Are firing away on Kleinstadt.
Yeah, like this map, I don't know if the Beaumont, what are those, the ATGs are as effective because the only straight lines really are on the one side of your base. So, you know, you want something that can shoot up and over the houses in the middle. Well, the Calliope's good, yeah, for sure.
Calliope. I'll always say it. Sure. No game audio, even though I tried to fix it. Big rips. Have these tanks peppering away at this tower. Violence.
I have game music, but not game explosions. Which is even weirder.
We have our own fancy background music playing, so at least there's something accompanying our voices.
I can make sounds.
No,
I got
no.
sound effects. So what people have always told me, the first person to take control of the center is not the one that wins the match. So we're gonna see if that holds true. As it looks like Bistrik tried to take it, but Nalco pushed and is now in control of the center. This is one of my favorite maps.
Yeah, a lot of great little nooks and crannies to move around, utilizing those houses for cover. Lets artillery get in all sorts of weird and interesting positions to fire on, and the competition for the hilltop is always exciting to watch. And actually, something I've been missing is this aerial battle that's been going on above us.
Oh, there's planes in the air.
A lot of them. There's a huge aerial battle that was happening up above, all the while those tanks were trading blows in the center.
Yeah, Nalco's just peppering that tower. Nothing's coming out to stop him. I'm really confused. Like, what's Bistrik doing? What's he spending money on?
He's being completely distracted by this aerial superiority. I think he's maybe concerned Nalco is going to bring in an aerial unit. And so he's focusing very heavily on maintaining some sort of sky superiority. Doesn't want the entire air to shift into Nalco's favor. But that doesn't really matter. Although bombers are something that Gallands have, so it is a threat in the sky, and they certainly work well against tank destroyers. But I want to say Beastrick was just kind of turtling there, saving up cash for some tank destroyers, which now are coming out. But on the same side, Naokao has also managed to tier up and managed to get that first cash drop and a turret.
First tower down. Tank destroyer coming now for that artillery in the center. Tank destroyer is actually looking pretty rough. The 3 tanks converging on it.
Yeah, nice little cost-effective push there. Able to grab 1 tank destroyer for 1 tank. Definitely worth the push. Here comes a tank destroyer for Naokao. He'll be able to fire away on these turrets shortly.
I'm just so, like, Beastrick doesn't have anything on the field. He's got a plane, a tank destroyer, and a tank. And that's it.
Yeah, I think most of his units have been traded away. Lost a lot of stuff in the sky. I think he invested in an early bomber. That's why we saw all the fighting go on up in the air, because he had a bomber and some fighters trying to gain that superiority, but he lost it all. The trading going into the favor of Naokao. And now with Naokao with that cash drop, he's just got so much more on the field than Beastrick. He's able to put out a tank destroyer here, and artillery's getting positioned. Yikes, look at that artillery up in the north. This might not even go noticed tucked behind this building.
Oh, geez, yeah.
Bit of a battle in the center, though. Tank destroyer's coming in here. I think Beastrick wants to gain command of the hill, so he's got to get rid of that turret. Oh, and the micro, the perfect timing from Naokao. He pulled back his low health one-shot tank destroyer just in time. He let his other tanks get rid of that tank destroyer, and now he's got the upper hand on this hilltop. It's going to be a lot harder for Beastrick to take now.
Yeah, with tank destroyers on this hilltop, you can hit any of these towers from a good distance away. And now it's a 2-on-1 tank destroyer. Nope.
Oh,
Beastrick turns his
wow.
tank destroyer and runs, but is it going to make it away?
Turned it around too late. He didn't get down the hill in time, and now these tank destroyers are up here in a very commanding position. Cash drop comes in, or is coming in.
Nope, that was,
Yeah, that was
someone at
on full
full
cash, yeah. Probably Naokao, considering his net worth is now double that of Beastrick's. Bomber's coming in here, almost grabbing a tank destroyer.
That artillery in the north definitely did not get noticed. It took down that tower and is now plugging that lane, allowing Naokao's troops to move up.
There are no turrets in the north now. And meanwhile, Beastrick has not managed to take down a single one of Naokao's. So 3-0 turret advantage in favor of Naokao. Finally, that artillery does go down. I think a bomber queued into it, took it down. Also managed to grab a tank up there.
Tank destroyer takes down another tank destroyer, and it looks like he's pushing all 3. They take down another one.
One thing that is shifting into the favor of Beastrick is the air. He's got a few fighters up there and a bomber that's been doing some great work for him. So if he can continue that up, it might be a good means of counteracting some of this aggression from Naokao. But right now, things are certainly in Naokao's favor. A tank destroyer peppering away at a turret now gets taken some shots fired at from a tank destroyer down the hill. Down it goes. Good pickup there. Cash drop goes into the hands of Naokao. That's the second one in a row.
Yeah, double the net worth right now.
Ooh, a bomber landing into 2 tank destroyers there. If it drops another bomb in between the 2 of them, down goes 1. AA is here, though, now to reinforce. Going to make it a lot harder for these bombing runs to go successfully.
Yep, AA and fighter screen protecting his 1 tank destroyer. That's all he's got left now. Where did all his troops go?
Yeah, they got picked off. He sent those 2 forward just a bit too far forward, and they got scooped up from lower hill vantage points.
It's just so weird seeing so little troops on the field. I mean, like, low net worth between both players. Beastrick only has $30 on the field right now.
Yeah, it's It's a very good matchup right now. It's a good mirror matchup. Both are going at it. They're getting advantages. Naoko is just slowly eating away. He's managing to win the trades he needs to win. He's putting out the more effective units. The Bomber's not necessarily doing enough work for Beastrick, and I do wonder if because he's invested money and resources in those tier 3 units, that it is ultimately costing him this map right now as artillery and tank destroyers pepper away at base turrets.
Bomber's coming out, though. Take out that artillery. It gets one.
AA is redirected
Wow, Artie
here.
goes down in one hit.
Yeah, the Bombers are really good against low-tier units. They can take down Artie and tanks, maybe even AA in one bomb. So very effective units to be utilized against the lower-tier defense that is put out here by Naoko, but they don't work quite as well against tanks. Or tank destroyers, excuse me. They also can be microed away from. So if you're paying attention to that bomber, you know it's coming in, and when it's coming in, you can move your units in time to avoid the bombs.
Well, Beastrick has his air superiority back, but only barely. He's got, what, 4 planes to 2. But they're all over his base. He hasn't really pushed them out yet.
He is about to lose a turret at his base. Nope.
That tank's
Yeah.
not taking any shots. What's it doing?
Not close enough, just out of range of that turret.
Looks like he's trying to bait him into coming after those tanks
Oh.
and then getting him with tank destroyers.
I was thinking he was setting up to get that cash drop in the south, but you're absolutely right. He wanted to draw out these tank destroyers. Down go 2 of his to the 1, though. That's a great trade into the favor of Beastrick. Oh, and he gets a tank. You might get the second. Oh, my goodness.
Oh.
2 tank destroyers
that's-
take out that entire squad in the center.
And he keeps hiding things in this north. I keep looking back over here, and there's just more units there. There's a AA, there's a artillery, and a tank hiding over there now.
Be able to get that tank destroyer, which is trying to come in and deny that installment over there. It does go down. Jeeps now coming in. Those might actually get the artillery and the AA. Oh, the tank just around the ridge, not able to defend. That's going to be a nice little denial on that north side.
AA to get a cash drop? Probably worth it.
Yeah. What a great back and forth. This is a must-win for Beastrick. If he does not take this, he goes home second place in Season 2. I think it's $500. Yeah, he misses that. First place gets $1 grand. Second place is $500. So this is a $500 match right now for Beastrick. There's a good amount on the line.
Was Beastrick last season's winner?
Cannot
Cannot remember. Chat will let us know in like a minute.
Oh, yeah, I can't. I almost want to say it was Naoko, but it could have been. Or Heathen, even. Not sure who won.
Thought it was Sporks or Beastrick.
That's
but
it.
I don't remember. I was there for the whole thing. So long ago.
Uh-oh, artillery slamming away on the tank destroyer. Not doing a ton of damage, though. It does back off. What of that? I mean, you're talking about units not being on the field. Now we have a ton. Aerial battle going on, 3-3 up in the sky. AA on the ground trying to reinforce. You got 2 tank destroyers and artillery trying to properly defend, and suppose that could all swing very quickly. Some AA out here in the center along with these 2 tank destroyers could do work for Naoko.
Another cargo crate gonna go in the north, so it looks like it's gonna go to Naoko.
Yeah, Naoko has full control of these. We his 4th cash drop in a row? Wow. I mean, you want to talk about an advantage. That is an absolutely huge one to be continuously dropping into the favor of Naoko. And for Beastrick to be even defending as good as he is, it's very impressive. Photo.
Yep.
Yeah, Beastrick was our Season 1 champ.
So this is him defending his title. I mean, screw the $500. He's got to defend his
Yeah.
title.
Screw the $500, excuse me. Yeah, titles are on the line right now. That's the most important thing.
Get one of those fancy belts, right?
Yeah. No, we put away VRML WWE style belts for
WWE.
winners.
Yeah, we totally should.
Why don't we? Because some teams are 5 players, and that would be a very expensive belt buying session.
No, they just have to share it. They gotta, ship it every so often to the other person.
Oh, finally that front base turret on the south goes down with a little push from the double tank destroyers.
Naoko now has 4 tank destroyers out on the field. It's a heavy advantage, but he's not using them. He's not pushing them. He's just holding his position until he can build up more forces.
He's got one down here in the south. Now, this is kind of going unnoticed, and is just free firing away at this final turret on the south. But you're right. He could easily put on a full court press right now. He could get these 2 tank destroyers up into position, but they could also be firing on the north base turret. And it would force Beastrick to split his attention.
Tank destroyers are coming to fight the south lanes. One goes down on Naoko's side. Is the other one going to make it? No, he turns it away. Nope. It turns away on its own because computers.
Yep.
And Naoko comes out ahead with 1 tank destroyer still standing on a 3v2. And he's still peppering that tower on the south side.
Yeah. And now he has AA here to reinforce this 1 tank destroyer, so a bomber isn't an option to deny it. He has also moved up that tank destroyer on the hilltop to be a threat to the north tower. Going to force an answer from Beastrick. This is really going into the favor of Naoko now.
Towers down. Money drop out in the center. Is someone going to go for it?
Buddy?
There we go.
The tank destroyer just snags it. The 5th in a row for Naoko. He has been in full control of this entire map, the entire series, as we do come up into one of our longest ones in this best of 5.
Is he going to push that south tank destroyer up and get base shots? It looks like he is.
Yeah, he could. I do think he wants to pressure the remaining defense, though. He does get 1 tank destroyer. Can he get the artillery down? No, he can't. That artillery actually might find 2 TDs if he's not careful. Does get 1.
Oh no.
Yep.
Oh, I
Oh,
got
the
the
bomber! The bomber came in and swooped in and snagged. I thought that artillery got it too, but I saw the bomber pull up from his strafe run at the last minute there, and wow, Beastrick hanging on by the skin of his teeth. Now we do see troop trucks, the first in this series, 16 minutes in, some bazooka troops coming into the south.
Yeah, Naoko still definitely has the ground advantage. Beastrick has a pretty good air advantage, though. He's got 5 planes in the air, 6 planes in the air, but I don't think it's going to help him much with this ground push from the tank destroyers and artillery or rocket troops.
Yeah, it is looking still in the favor of Naoko. I don't know what the win condition necessarily is for Beastrick right now. He can't overwhelm with tank destroyers, and if he does, it's going to be a micro battle off between who can manage those tank destroyers better. What he can do is he does have aerial superiority. The AA sure is out there, but he's got all the fighters. He could really invest heavy in some bombers now and trying to help defend his base, which is under fire.
Yeah, I mean, even if he managed to take out all of Naoko's units on the field, he'd still have to deal with 6 towers.
Yeah,
Before he can start pushing.
and
the
now
base.
he's losing base HP. Tank destroyers in the center of his base. They are peppering away. Naoko is looking to be crowned Season 2 champion. And without anybody there to contest it, no units, no tanks, no tank destroyers. Beastrick's going to let this one go down to the wire as Naoko comes out on top.
Easily rolled over our enemy on the battle.
Yeah. I mean, an absolute stellar best of 3 for our 3rd place finalist. And now to go to a 4th map in a best of 5, and Naokao seemingly the underdog after Bstrick won map 1 in dominating fashion. He's able to come back and get 3 in a row. I mean, and with divisions that you would not expect to be necessarily top tier. We didn't see a single Beaumont in this best of 5. Yep. Yeah, and it just didn't come in. It wasn't in the cards for either one of these players. Neither one felt the necessity of bringing in a Beaumont, and ultimately we end on a Gallon versus Gallon with Naokao showing a much better, not much better, but certainly was the better one at microing those tank destroyers. He won because of how he managed those tanks. Yeah. That's true. That is very true. He did also have 5 cash drops to 0 onto the side of Bstrick, so absolutely right. He was able to afford to sacrifice tanks and put them into more aggressive situations, and ultimately that gets him that 4th and final map, and he is crowned our Season 2 champion. I think we will also be signing off. We have no more matches coming at you today. It is going to be it from me and Trip, who still isn't coming in on the scoreboard, but okay, we appreciate his pretend commentary here. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. We will be signing off for Season 2. Hope to see you again for Season 3, maybe with some PSVR support. That would be lovely. But until then, my name is Nightfire with 2 E's, my co-caster Triple Nipple. We will see you next season.